Hi, welcome back to the garden. Today I'm going to give you a little garden tour, take you around, and then see what's ready to harvest. And here's our potato patch that's planted outside the main garden. We plant 5 rows of potatoes and they're just starting to flower, which is awesome. So we got flowers here, we got clusters here. They're going to open up any day. And we plant 2 types of potatoes normally, Lehigh and Eva. We've had a great success with those. I did plant Purple Viking, just a small amount. And with the potatoes, with our 5 rows, we always plant our potatoes whole. But this year we want to experiment, and we did 1 row that we cut, and that is the middle row. And if you can see here, the middle row is just they're smaller. Clearly the potatoes that went in whole are much bigger. Here's the whole one, and this is one that was cut. And so when we dig them up in a couple months, and we'll see what the difference is, see the size difference and how many potatoes we get on them. But so far, thinking the whole potatoes are looking much better. All right, so let's go back into the garden. Here is my determinate tomatoes. These are 3 rows that we plant outside. These I use mostly for my tomato sauce, tomato juice, and my diced tomatoes. We recently planted them. We plant them in succession. That's why these are a little smaller than some of the ones that are in the garden. And that way they're not coming in all at the same time. So then I have time to do some tomatoes from inside the garden. And these are a little later. So then I have not all my tomatoes come in all at once. So let's go back into the garden. All right, so now that we're inside the main garden, here's another row of determinate tomatoes. And then we have onions, and then we do a lot of cucumbers. I make a lot of pickles, and I just love eating them too. So here's a row of cucumbers, and I also have another row of cucumbers on this side. And I have mostly pickling. I have English cucumbers, and I have some slicers, but mostly pickling. Then we have a row of bush beans, and these are just about ready to flower too. These are jade, so it's a whole row of jade. Then over here, we do a lot of trellising, like you saw. The cucumbers are on a trellis. This row is some melons. They're going to grow up on a trellis. Then we have some pole beans, 2 different types of pole beans. And then at the very end, I have a couple more of my English cucumbers. So this is another row of onions. In the front here, we do the scallions, or bunching onions, people call them. And then we have a row here of indeterminate tomatoes. These are mainly my small cherry type of tomatoes. I had a little extra room here, so I put extra here. Those are delicious. Then we have, the rest is my snap peas. These are the sugar snap peas. They're definitely ready. I'm going to be picking a little bit of this. What I do with these, or I pick these, and right now garlic scapes are ready to harvest. So I saute the snap peas and the garlic scapes together, and it makes a really good side dish. Then in that row, I have my hot peppers and eggplant. All right, so these are all my squashes that I planted. I have a lot of extra. I have somebody I want to give some to. And we got these beds ready. Tom rototilled yesterday. We put the plastic down, and I planted everything. So in this whole row, it is all summer squashes. I have 4 different types of zucchinis, a couple types of patty pan squash. And then in the second row, I have all my winter squash. I have buttercup, I have acorn squash, and I have butternut. So that's what's in that row. So I grow these vertically. We're going to put cages on here. They will go up the cages, and everything stays off the ground and it doesn't spread all over the place. So before they get too big, we have to get the cages on. And let's go to the next spot. All right, so in this whole row is where I planted all my bell peppers and my sweet frying peppers. You can see we do this also in a trellis system. I do this so when the peppers grow up, they grow through here. I will take this one as they get bigger and bring it down lower. That way the peppers do not break. They stand up nice and tall, and they're doing nicely. They're just starting to get some flowers on there. They're just putting on growth on. I only planted these 2 to 3 weeks ago, so they're doing nice. I have 2 beds of cutting flowers, and they're just starting. I have these sunflowers here. These are the shorter ones, and there are singles, and then there's multiple stems because I like to have flowers blooming at all times. The two reasons I do the cutting flowers is mostly because of the pollinators. I bring that in so everything gets pollinated in the garden. These are one of the favorites that hummingbirds and the bees love. This is a verbena, tall. And then I have lots of zinnias in here. Everything's small yet except for the sunflowers. I have zinnias. And then I have my snapdragons, which this one is a volunteer from last year. And if I bring the netting down, it would hold that up a little bit. But this one's from last year, and that came back. The same with these verbenas. They came back from last year. That's why they're so tall. I also have more. These are the same thing that I planted from seed. And I have, so I have another bed of flowers over here, but I want to show you my mistake. This is what happens when you plant your sunflowers too early and the weather is horrible. So I planted these on April 3rd, and the weather just wasn't right, and I didn't get to plant them. So now they're stunted. So these are supposed to be 6 foot tall. So I just left them in here because they were budding up. I knew they wouldn't get tall. I knew they were kind of done. So I have a little tiny bouquet of miniature giant sunflowers. And here, we even got the yellow over here. So these are my tall sunflowers. So we're gonna have to wait a little while before they start flowering, which is awesome because the bees absolutely love them. And then in this row here, we have broccoli, cauliflower, and a little bit of kohlrabi. I always plant kohlrabi with my broccoli and cauliflower. If you can see here, here's one of my purple kohlrabis. They're always done before the broccoli and cauliflower. So then that's why I put them in the middle, and then when they're done I take them out, and then the broccoli has more room to grow. This is all my indeterminate tomatoes. You can see I planted them a couple weeks before. They're growing very nicely. We grow them up on a trellis. And with the trellis system, see, all you have to do is just keep weaving them back and forth. And they kind of do it themselves. Here's one here I can do. You just take your hand, put it through, and then it grows up on a trellis. I will limb them up later on so the leaves aren't touching. But they're all starting to flower. They got lots of flower clusters. And I have 2 rows of indeterminate tomatoes. And on each end I put a cherry type of tomato on there. This is a row of plum tomatoes. And these were so awesome last year. So hopefully our tomato crop is as good as last year, because last year was amazing. And here we have our garlic. So we have our bed of garlic, which I'm so excited. When I was talking about scapes before, this is a garlic scape right here. Now this is something you have to cut off the garlic, because what happens is it curls up like this, and it was going to grow straight up like this. And this is a flower. This is a seed, a garlic seed here. So you have to pick them off before this stands up, which I have a week at least. But you can eat these and they're amazing. I'll be cutting some soon and I'll show you. but you fry them up or you grill them. You can saute, whatever you want to do with them. They taste like a mild garlic string bean, like a string bean that tastes like a hint of garlic when you cook them. And then we have here just my little things. It's small yet. Radishes. So we have 2 rows of radishes, and then we have 2 rows of my white salad turnips. That one's called Silky Sweet. And then I planted some beets here. These are some baby beets and some just regular red beets. And these are also beets, but these are the beets, these are the cylinder beets. I've never used these before. I'm gonna hopefully get a whole bunch, and I'm gonna can pickle beets because I love pickled beets, and I'm gonna try doing it myself this year. So that's a tour of the garden. Everything is growing nicely. In a couple weeks we should be getting a lot more food. All right, so now that I showed you everything, I'm gonna harvest some of the scapes. Like I said, there's 1 on each one. They will not grow back. And by cutting these off, all the energy goes down to the bulb and makes a bigger bulb of garlic. And today I'm just picking enough for a meal. I don't want to pick them all. I have plenty of time. So that looks about good. So I have these. And now I got to get some snap peas to go with this. And I'll pick some lettuce while I'm out here too. I'll get some lettuce. See, if you just cut a little bit off, then you'll get new ones. And the one cuts, they call it that, because when you cut it, they're all ready to go inside a salad bowl. This is a butter crunch. This is a very nice one. I always just leave a little bit of leaves on, and then they shoot up more shoots. Definitely need some romaine lettuce. One here. This one's called Monte Cristo. That is a really good crunchy romaine. Oh, get some red. And the one cuts are already cut. So we'll get that lettuce. And grab a couple Swiss chard leaves. I don't need a Swiss chard for today, but I need it for tomorrow. And I wash it up, and it will last in the refrigerator for 4 to 6 days. All right, now for my snap peas. All right, so I'm going to start with my snap peas. I start on one end. Just pick them off. They're really good sauteed, but they're also very good to just come down and eat them. And it happens to be my little Remy's favorite treat. He loves those even more than carrots. There we go. So I always pick a little extra because they're so delicious. And they do shrink up a little when you're cooking them. And it's also very nice to come down here and just eat them right off the vine. They're very nice and juicy. The larger ones do have a string, and all you do is you pull the top and you go like this, and you peel the string right off. Then it's perfect. See, this is why growing on trellises is a great idea. No bending down, no bugs getting all over them. You can see everything, even though I always miss them. You're back for more? There's a good amount on here, which is awesome. Beginning of the spring, I wasn't sure how this was gonna do. It's so much rain. It didn't look great. But they bounced back. I think this is gonna be enough. And there you go. There's the snap peas. And cooked them up for dinner tonight with the garlic scapes. Awesome. So here are the sugar snap peas and the garlic scapes. And they are sauteed in some olive oil, salt and pepper. And they are delicious. So there you got it. You got the Swiss chard, the garlic scapes, snap peas, and look, the lettuce is already cut up. That's why I love these one cuts. I think that will be all for today, and thanks for watching.